Shri Guru Charitre, Chapter 26, Infinite Glory of the Vedas and Their True Purpose. This chapter describes Sri Narasimha Saraswati explaining to the two vain glorious Pandits about the sanctity of Vedic lore and that the Vedas are not meant for Vada and polemics. Vedas are verily the mother. They are to be treated with reverence and veneration. They are meant to illumine our intellect and to help us discover our true self, and are not intended for bartering them for self aggrandizement. They are not for Jivanopadi, but for Jivana Paramavadi. They are meant for bhakti and mukti, and not for bhukti. They are meant for nurturing and enriching the spirit, but not for filling and pampering one's pride. Siddhamuni continued with the narrative. Sri Narasimha Saraswati told the Pandits that it was wrong, presumptuous, and childish on their part to believe that they had mastered all the Vedas and gained all knowledge. It is indeed beyond the ken and capacity of anybody, even of gods, to have full and proper understanding of the Vedas. The Vedas are indeed countless and endless. Ananta vai Vedaha, it is said. Even Brahmadeva could not gauge the extent of the Vedas. The Lord himself had to incarnate on earth as Badarayana, that is Vyasa, and he collated a small portion of them into the four Vedas, which we have heard of. It was indeed a very tiny portion of the original Vedic lore abstracted for the purpose of making a beginning and for paving the way of dharmic life. Even Badaranarayana, in truth, could not find the beginning and end of the Vedas. As even these four Vedas, tiny portions from the original, which is limitless, cannot all be studied and understood by anyone, even if he be allotted aeons of life. Vyasa Bhagavan taught each one of the Vedas, some little portion from each, to one student, each of whom was specially blessed with the full extent of kalpa in his lifespan. Thus, spending a full kalpa for their study, Paila learnt a small portion which goes under the name of Rigveda. Vaisampayana learnt another small portion which goes under the name of Yajurveda. Jaimini learnt another small portion which goes under the name of Samaveda, and Sumanta learnt another small portion which goes by the name of Atharva Veda. These at least they could learn only because of the special grace of their Guru, Vyasa Bhagavan. That being the case, how ridiculous it is for any man whose lifespan was so short to claim and boast that he had mastered the Vedas. In ancient times, Bharadwaja Rishi had resolved that he would learn and master all the Vedas. As he proceeded with his study, he found that although decades and centuries were rolling by, the progress he could make was too little. He undertook penance to propitiate Brahma, and when Brahma appeared before him, he prayed, "Grant me as much lifespan as would suffice for my completing the study of the Vedas." Brahmadeva smiled, as if in derision, and said, "My child, I can make you Chiranjeevi, but alas, it is beyond all my powers to help you to make a complete study of all the Vedas. See there the infinite heights of the Vedas." As he said this, Bharadwaja Rishi could see the splendorous mountains of the Vedas, their peaks hardly visible and penetrating into the highest skies. Their effulgence was like that of 1,000,000 suns. Bharadwaja instantly realized his folly in hoping that he could master all the Vedas, which would never be possible even if he be granted millions and millions of aeons as his lifespan. He was crestfallen and fell at the feet of the Brahma that he should somehow bless him with the Vedic wisdom. Brahma gave him 3 handfuls of material from the infinite mountain peaks and told him, "If you can study and understand this much, you will be most blessed indeed." Bharadwaja strove for all his life, and he could not complete even that much study of the 3 handfuls of material that Brahmadeva gave him. Guru Nath again said that being the case, how fallacious it is for a mere mortal of the Kali Yuga to claim that he had mastered all the Vedas, alas. Guru Nath now started speaking of the glory of the Vedas and their structure, which was unheard of by any before. Guru Nath said that this was what was being told by Vyasa Bhagwan to each of his disciples regarding the respective Vedas he taught them. Briefly is as follows. Rig Veda has as its auxiliary Ayurveda, the science of life. Its presiding deity is Brahma. Its Gotra is Atrayasa. Its Chandas is Gayatri. The Rigveda Purusha has red lotus-like broad eyes and a 3-foot long shapely neck. He has beautiful flowing locks of hair. Rigveda has in all 12 sections or divisions. Its systematic recital with the correct intonation endows greatest merit. Much of the portion of Rigveda is not known to any in the Kali Yuga. Yajurveda has as its auxiliary the Dhanurveda, the science of archery and weapons. Its presiding deity is Rudra. Its Gotra is Bharadwaja. Its Chandas is Tristup. The Yajurveda Purusha has bright lotus-like eyes with an effulgent body and majestic stature. Yajurveda has 86 Vedas, that is sections or divisions. It is humanly impossible to explain every section of this Veda. Each section has many subsections, chapters and branches which are dealt with in great detail, but are not easily comprehensible. They have profound meanings and implications. They deal with sacrifices, achara vidhis, the detailed instructions governing the performance of sacrifices, the mantras for the purpose, and the strict discipline to be observed by the Brahmin, especially by the priests officiating at such sacrifices. This Veda broadly consists of mantras, brahmanas, samhitas, and aranyakas. This Veda has 8 upangas, that is, Pratipada, Anupada, Chandas, Bhasha, Dharma, Mimamsa, Nyaya, and Tarka. It has also 6 angas, that is, limbs, namely Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakarana, Nirukta, Chandas, and Jyotisha. Samaveda has as its Upaveda Gandharva Vidya or Veda. Its presiding deity is Vishnu. Its Chandas is Jagati. Its Gotra is Kasyapasa. Samaveda has 1,000 sakhas or sections. The Samaveda Purusha dons on his neck a beautiful flower garland and wears a white waistcloth. He has all the virtues like Sama and Dhamma, that is, total mastery over senses and mind. He has radiant eyes, a most fair complexioned, golden splendored body, and is 9 feet tall in height. Atharva Veda is full of mantra shastra. Its Upaveda is Astra Vidya or Veda. Its presiding deity is Indra. Its Gotra is Vaijanasa. Its Chandas is Tristup. The Atharva Veda Purusha is of fierce form and of dark complexion. He is not as austere as the other 3 Veda Purushas. Atharvana mantras can be used for malevolent purpose also and thus misused. The Veda has chiefly 9 Vedas and 5 Kalpas. Sri Narasimha Saraswati told the Pandits that the Vedas are most profound. They are the sole protection for mankind both in the world here and world thereafter. They are to be worshipped as mother. Humility is the true mark of scholarship. He again emphasized that knowledge, if at all anyone can gain and profess about the Veda, will be just no more than a grain of sand, while the Vedic lore is like the unending stretch of the sandy shores of all the seas of the earth. The Pandits, in their pride, could not grasp the wise counsel of Sri Narasimha Saraswati and still kept up the air of arrogance. Jai Gurudeva.